all of us, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, we are the backbone of America. Like, we're the ones that are keeping everyone intact and healthy and can live in a house and be comfortable. So I always say I wish customers were just more thankful for anybody showing up. Being able to help people too is what helps drive me as well. I can say I did that. I helped that person get hot water. So I always kind of doubted my strength of like what I can and can't do. But then I've learned to incorporate tools to help me with certain things, like water heaters. I can lift electricals like nothing but gas. Like I can't do it. And so with the motorcycle lift, I'm able to make the job happen and be safe. That's my drawing board right there. I'm going to be opening up an RV storage park next year. So I applied for my name and my LLC. That was approved. So the next step is buying the land and opening that up and being part-time at Parker so I can really concentrate on an income that's residual, because I love plumbing. I love turning wrenches, but I don't know how long my body will allow me to do it. So I eventually would like to be like a plumbing instructor and do the RV storage park so I can give back the knowledge to the next generation coming in.
Hola, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable Trades podcast. I'm your host, Adrian, and I'm an HVAC business owner here in South Texas. I do a little bit of content creation and things of that nature online. On this podcast, we interview a lot of tradespeople from many different trades, business owners, people in manufacturing, people in software companies, new technicians, older technicians, people that start at 18, 16 even, and people that start in their 40s and 50s. So plenty of good conversations to be had with good people and a lot of good stories that maybe you would relate to. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcast, any other location, please leave us a review. We hope to earn those 5 stars. And I really have fun doing this podcast. I appreciate everybody that watches or listens and makes this what it is. And don't forget to check out HVAC Nights every Thursday night. Me and Jake host a live podcast weekly. And you can also check out merch from my store, the HVAC Nights, the nightwear, any of that at reliablehvacr.net. I also want to thank our sponsors that help keep this thing going. Jobber is our favorite CRM. I've tried different ones until finding Jobber that kind of controls the chaos that it is running a business and still being in the field and trying to get all the billing, quoting, submitting everything that you need to do outside of the field. And with Jobber, we do our maintenance contracts, we do our invoicing, our quoting, following up with customers to get reviews. That has helped our business a lot. And it offers website building and a whole bunch of AI features now baked in, and you can also do add-ons if you have any other software that you want, because they do work with a lot of marketing tools and things, AI receptionists and things like that. So check out Jobber for yourself, see if it helps your business. You get a 2-week free trial and a special discount if you use the link down below. Vito Pro Pack is also a supporter, and I can tell you right now, even though I see a bunch of competitors coming into the field, they are still hands down the best tool bags that you can buy. They are an investment, I understand that, but once you try one, like I did back during COVID, you won't want to use any other tool bag. And the thing is, they have so many products now that you can find the one that is perfect for you. So make sure to check out Vito Pro Pack at your supply house or go to vitopropack.com. True Tech Tools has a lot of their stuff as well. Go check out their website to make sure that you can find the perfect bag for yourself. You won't regret it. And if you guys run your own business, have you heard of CallRail? They are a call tracking service to help you with marketing needs. One of the things that I've heard a lot of is how to get customers, how to get your name out when you're just starting your business. Call tracking and marketing is a big deal, and it's helped us get our name out. And they also introduced this voice assist to help small businesses out when you can't hire or afford to hire a receptionist or even an office space to have this receptionist. So with CallRail in place, they can not only track your calls and tell you what advertisements you're using work or don't work, so you know where to spend your money, backed by data and analytics. And if you're not online, you don't exist in today's world. But they also do this voice assist receptionist that can answer the calls whether you're off, your after hours, weekends with your family, holidays, whatever it is, you're on vacation, you want to take some time off, you still need someone to answer the phone. And in my opinion, in our experience, it's actually helped weed out the good customers from the bad and, spam type of calls that we get. It actually does work. So if you guys want to check it out for yourself, make sure to check out callrail.com. I'll leave a link where you can get a free trial and try out either tracking or the voice assist for yourself and see if you like it and if you can implement it in your business. But trust me, it's going to help you guys quite a bit. Local HQ has been a big help in our marketing and SEO. So they have built our website, they have built our searchability, they have built our Google business profile. And without that, I don't think our phone honestly would have been ringing off the hook the way it is right now. We look professional, everything's in place for customers to find us online, and that is thanks to Local HQ. They are a marketing company that is tailored to the trade. So if you want more information, check out the link below and mention me or the Reliable Trades podcast and get 2 months of SEO for free. Alayna, what is up? How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
That's awesome to hear. I hear you're working pretty busy right now. I didn't know it was that season for you plumbers, because for us, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, plumbing in Arizona in the wintertime, we are slammed. And then when it comes to summer, we slow down.
You get out early and stuff like that. That's what's happening right now to some HVAC guys. It's like, oh, we don't have enough work. You go home early, and then you this is a time you have time to get things done that you need to do, like personally, right? That's your time to do it.
Yep. Yeah. In the summertime, we usually save all the projects at the house for that time. And then in the wintertime, we're like, don't plan anything because we're super late.
It's been hectic. I feel like everything, maybe all trades in general, has been picking up a little bit. I feel like there's a lot of new construction here. I don't know about where you're at. Just trades in general need to be or are in demand.
Yeah, lots of new construction because we have a lot of the microchip plants growing here. We just finished another one, and number 3 is coming along. So we have one in Surprise, one here in Tempe. Now they're building another one. They want to do it in Tucson.
Yeah. So before we get into too much of the conversation, can you quickly introduce yourself and kind of what you do?
Yeah. So I'm Alayna.joyy, and I'm a plumber here in Phoenix, Arizona. I work for Parker and Sons, and I've been in the trades almost 10 years. I'll be hitting that next year, and I can't wait to be able to say I've been doing it a decade.
Well, it's strange for me because now I'm like pushing 20 years, and somebody pointed out to me, "Oh, you're that guy now." I'm like, "No, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be like 20 years ago I did it this way." I was just like, I've done it this long, you know? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, that's funny.
So lately I've seen you do a few podcasts, and I had, thought of bringing you on because this year I've kind of expanded this to more trades and trying to get more people on here just to kind of share their story. I had seen you and what you've been doing, and then you got like really involved with uh different things going on this year. I kind of wanted to touch up on a few of those things. And the podcasts that you've done, they've been great. We can start with maybe actually let's start with how you got into plumbing. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. You said you've been doing this 10 years. What made you get into it?
So I basically had the option of moving back in with my mom after I got off of drugs and out of rehab. So I was a past heroin addict, and my mom was like, "Oh, well, just move back in, but you got to take this serious. This is your second chance." And so this was back in Florida. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to do the best I can. I worked at Circle K, and then she worked at a women's resource center, and there was a big flyer that was like trades, like HVAC, lawn mechanics, plumbers, auto mechanic, boat mechanics. Like they're offering all different types of trades at this college. And my mom's like, just try it. It's a 10-month course. And if you graduate with a good score, you'll be able to get a good job out of graduation. So I did. I stuck with it for 10 months and got hired right out. Literally like at graduation, 2 companies were like fighting for me. They were like, "We want you." And one was like, "We got a pink truck. We want a female plumber." And I went to both companies to kind of see like who had the best pay because that was like in my mindset, I was like, well, it's money, and I went
Of
with
course.
Plumbing Today. Plumbing Today hired me and I worked with them with a senior tech for about 3 years in a truck. And then after that, I went on my own. And it's kind of like learning the tricks of the trades of like selling and installing and getting paid based off of that. So, yeah, I would say the Women's Resource Center introducing me to that flyer because my mom gave me that opportunity to join the trades. And here I am still sticking with it. I actually transferred from Florida to Arizona under the same company, which is called the Wrench Group. So they own, I think, about 33 companies throughout the United States. So it gives us that opportunity to feel like a union, but we're not a union, but we're able to like keep seniority, keep our pay, keep our 401k.
Mm.
So I never thought I was going to be a plumber. It kind of just like landed in my lap. And I'm really glad my mom was kind of encouraging me to go with it because I will
Okay.
never turn back. It definitely has worked out.
Yeah, it's a lot easier because parents don't always look at a trade for their kids, right? I don't know, they could see hard labor, work environment, whatever it is, but you never know until you give it a try, which, like you said, you've been doing this almost 10 years now and enjoying it. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that flyer, what made you go to plumbing in particular?
I know, it's so weird because I had so many options. I guess because, like, I'm not gonna lie, so I was a plumber for Halloween when I was, like, I think I was, like, 11, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be cool to kinda experience what a real plumber is." I was a plumber for Halloween. Like, I was carrying a pipe wrench around and going trick-or-treating on
Yeah.
Halloween, and I mean, that's literally what I was kinda clicked in my brain. I was like, "Alright, let me just try this out and see what it's about." And I ended up being, like, the top performer in my class to where Robbie Wolf, my instructor, was like, "Alayna, can you teach the guys how to do this your way because they're not understanding my way?" Because sometimes,
Really?
we learn certain things and adapt to certain things, the way that we understand it. Because math, you could do it, like, multiple ways.
I
There's not
have
just, like,
kids.
one
Tell me
way.
about it. They are teaching a whole different way right now, and I'm like, "No, I'm gonna show you my way because it's easier or the way I can understand it to help you." Yeah, that's a good point too, and that's awesome that you did that or were top of your class in that sense. I just had a discussion with somebody. We're talking about trade school because I went to trade school and I experienced both, but mine was like at a college. It was like a 2 year program, year and a half technically. First semester, back of the class kind of kid, didn't really participate and didn't learn much, right? Then I was like, I need to take it more serious. I went to the front of the class because I started seeing who was like doing well, right? They were always in the front, raising their hands, asking questions, participating, volunteering. So I started doing that more, and that kind of excelled me in that aspect. And I was like, okay, this is better because you might not take it serious, you might not be interested in it, and then you kind of like let it go, and you don't get into it. And I don't know what I would be doing now if I wasn't in the trades, right? So like this is something that I really enjoy doing, and it was cool to see or cool to hear that you fell into it. It was familiar to you. I think that's why you chose it because you said you knew of plumbers basically, and you were one for Halloween, which I've never heard of before. So like that was familiar to you. You picked it, but it's something that you really enjoy. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really thankful because it was all for free too, so I didn't have to pay, like, anything out
Oh,
of
okay.
pocket for school. It was paid by the company that I got hired on for, so they sponsored the school. There was, like, 4 different companies that sponsored the school and paid for anybody who wanted to join. So
There's ways to do it because there's that, right? Or if you go looking for a job, they might offer because right now we have apprentices. We're offering like they want to do online courses because they prefer to be on the job. So we're offering to pay for that. Like the training is there, whether it's trade school or some other sort of way. And that's awesome. Or myself, I did financial aid. I was like, I'm getting this paid one way or another. I did save up and I paid for my first semester because I was trying to figure all that out, and then after that, he got paid for. So I was like, there's ways, right? There's a way if you want to do this or try it. And what's cool is I've interviewed a lot of younger kids, and they're doing their research and seeing how lucrative it could be, and they're diving into it themselves and doing all that on their own. Like they're looking into it, they're getting into it with a purpose. Where some of us, because me myself too, I kind of got into it because of my dad. Like you get into it for different reasons, or you fall into it And then you're like, I wish I would have known about this sooner, right?
Yeah, like right out of high school.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always good to see the younger generation. And I think it helps, right? The social media, everything that we do. That's why it was really cool to see you doing everything that you're doing. How was that? I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. That's just the way my brain works. How was that? Was it Dream Team or something for Ream? You went to an event?
Yeah, so it was a Dreams Team Skills Competition. It was
There you
two
go.
teams, and we basically had a competition between each other. And I was able to meet some pretty cool people. I don't want to call them like influencers, but they are influencers. I would say that they are
Yeah.
inspiration to social media because they are leaving like their legacy behind. But being able to like plumb next to females too, because I've never done that before, but also like having fun. But yeah, Reem hosted a whole event for us to just experience not only like getting to know each other, but showing off our skill sets as well.
How did they pick? Were you guys did you guys have to compete or do something to get into it?
Um, so
Or,
actually, it was just an application. They posted an
okay.
application for anybody to apply. And so once I saw that, I was like, let me get in
Yeah.
there. And then
There's
next thing
so
you
many of
know,
them. The HVAC national. I know more of the HVAC stuff. The HVAC national competition is like a televised thing. There was another one. There's Central Therm throws one. There's a bunch of people that throw these little events, and it's always cool because that makes it. Well, that's what makes it cool to do the trades. Is like you get to be in this community and try other things and do these little competitions, but I would never because I've been told you should try this or that. I was like, I don't like competing in front of
yeah,
people. So I don't know how I would be with that. I'm sure that
we
was a
were getting
little
we were getting like a lot of hate because people were like, "You're dividing plumbers. Like you shouldn't do this. Like we're all in it for each other." And I was like, either whoever wins, like we're all winners in the book. Like we are all here to serve the community. So it's all about like meeting and having fun. So, but yeah, we were getting a lot of hate on the internet. Like, don't divide plumbers. What are you doing?
like in comments and stuff.
Yeah,
There's no way to please everybody. It's just that's just the way the internet is. Which is funny because I follow and I talk to some like other trades like electricians and plumbers and stuff like that, and I always see them bickering. I always see the like. I'm sure you follow like Plumalorian, Conrad, all these other guys. I always just see them bickering with each other. I thought that's
it's
how they
kind of
all were.
yeah, it's entertaining, especially Conrad when he's like talking about the electrician. I think his name's like Drake or Duke or something, and then like he'll come back and say something. I'm like, I'm just eating the popcorn laughing.
Yeah, Plum Dangerous is another one that I'm just sitting there waiting to see what happens between whoever he's picking with, and I'm like, I don't know if they're all like that, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, no hard feelings. I'm pretty sure it's all for entertainment.
So did you know that another sponsor of the show, Diversitech, is probably in a lot of y'all's vans? They are the umbrella that is Master Care Cleaners, Packard Parts, Hillmore Tools, Fresh Air UV, Swoosh, Quick Sling, Speed Clean, Assurity, and Spin Tools. I have almost something from all of those brands in my van ever since we've started. Packard is a big one for us as far as parts. They usually have something that we would need on a day-to-day basis. So the next time you're replacing parts, maybe look at the name and see if it's one of those. They are your one-stop shop for everything HVAC, and they have you covered for your everyday HVAC needs. Like I said, there's been other competitions I've seen. I wouldn't be able to do that. How was that experience? Was it nerve-wracking? I'm sure it was different being on a stage
It,
like that versus being on the internet.
yeah, it was my first time ever doing something like that to put my skills to use on plumbing. It was pretty cool, nerve-wracking for sure, but I felt pretty comfortable because I had Marianne there, the lady plumber, and she
She was
was
on your
just a sweet.
team, right?
Yeah, she was my team captain. So like to meet her, I was like, no way, this is so cool. I've been following her since I started being a plumber. Like this is like dreams really do come true.
She does like way more than plumbing though. I followed her for a while too. She does like she can do anything
Yeah, she's like a jack of all trades.
basically. I've run into her a few times because she's gone to the AHR Expo for HVAC, and yeah, I saw her at Pipeline too. That was a cool one too.
And she made it feel like she's like, even if we lose, which, like I was saying, like nobody really lost in my book. I know it was a competition and Keith's team did win. Overall, it was a win because I was able to meet everybody and experience that.
Yeah, that's awesome. As far as you getting into the trades, like you said, you worked for a company, then you kind of moved over to where you're at now. How quickly did you pick up the trades, and was it difficult for you to learn how to do plumbing? Because my question is, did you have any sort of mechanical background beforehand? Like, did you grow up in the trades? Anybody else teach you anything beforehand?
So the only person in my family that did trades was my grandpa. He worked for Otis Elevators, but like he never passed that down, and there's
Yeah.
no blue collar workers in my family at all other than that. So I would say it's not really like family. Because usually when you talk to some plumbers, like, yeah, I'm like the fourth generation, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's freaking awesome. Like, I'm the first generation. So, but it was pretty difficult because my first 3 years riding in a truck with Ryan Birdsey in Florida from Plumbing Today, which he owns his own company now, he really taught me the atmosphere for customer base because I'm just residential. I've never done really commercial. So the foundation was really grown in that truck with him and learning the next star steps and providing to the customers, not ripping off customers, just being the best plumber that you can with integrity and doing it right the first time so you don't get any callbacks.
You don't get a lot of mentors like that. That's we're trying to teach that to ours because we get some guys that we hire in the past that come from another company, and that's the problem. They want to rip off a customer, they want to hike up prices, they want to do stuff, and we're like, just do good work, be honest, be transparent, and we rely more on like our customer service for just, and I assume like you for referrals or reviews, like you don't want to mess that up either. But that's the hard part sometimes to teach technicians, is the customer side, because you can turn wrenches all day, you can fix everything, like you can be the best technician, but how is your customer service? And even myself had to learn that, because when I got out of trade school, I felt like I knew a lot. I got into it, I learned from a few guys, and I'm like, yeah, I can fix anything, or I'll figure it out. And I would get complaints that customers, I wasn't friendly, I wasn't talkative, I wasn't this. I was like, didn't know that was a thing, but then I had to work on that. So now we try to preach it to our guys, like, just never lash out, never start anything, talk back, just do your work and make sure they have no complaints on your work. And then we'll deal with the customer if they have any issues. What I've been discussing is, like, once you find that, it stays with you. It sticks with you. You remember that person. Because I remember the one that I relied on, almost 20 years ago, and they've helped me a lot, even if it was just like little tips and tricks.
Yeah, like I remember because we had like button-up shirts. Like this one stuck with me a lot. Like we had button-up shirts, and I always had it like unbuttoned to where you could see my sports bra. And he was like, "Alayna, you want to look professional and clean, and you want to be able to show up to the customer and not have your shirt open, even though you are covered there." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." So like every single time you see my videos, like I'm always buttoned up. I'm always looking sharp, because
Yeah.
that's very important too. Because like it's true, people judge you off of your looks, and like Dexter teaches it with car salesmen. Like a car salesman would never take someone serious showing up in Converse and a Penguins hockey shirt. You know what I mean? Even though they have all the money in the world, but it's like it's true. People like to buy from people that they like. So if you get the customer to like you, then it's going to be easier for them to buy from you. And I'm all about lifelong relationships. I still talk to customers from Florida that I've been plumbing for and
Yeah,
call me.
seen you talk about that. You build friendships with your customers.
Yeah, I'll go out to lunch with them, especially senior citizens. Like they have a special place in my heart because a lot of senior citizens that I meet, their kids don't contact with them. I don't have contact with them, or they don't come and visit them, and they're by themselves. So I'm like, I'll be your new granddaughter. Let's go out for lunch.
That's awesome. And that's I think that's more important than anything else, is relationships and taking care of people, because that is what we're in the trades to do, if you like it or not. I mean, we're here to serve and provide these services to people, and some of them, yeah, they'll be jerks, but a lot of them need your help, and it's up to you to provide that. And I feel like that's just, I don't know, I thought it was really cool. I think you went out to lunch with one of them or something like that, and I was like, that's really cool. That's a little bit above and beyond, but I don't know, it's cool to see and good to hear. That's one of those things. It's like, there's good people out there still, and there's not a lot of them. So it's always good to see that.
Yeah, I always say that saying, if you can't find anybody that's being kind, or you're not around anybody that's being kind, then be somebody to be kind and show up for yourself and show up for others. Be that kindness of
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah, because yeah, I've had those discussions as well. Because I've always lived as like trying to be positive all the time. I hate negativity. I hate, it just brings you down. It puts you in a mood. I've been down that rabbit hole too, and I have a family. I don't want to, take it out on them or do anything like that. So I always just try to stick to the positive, and if anything bad happens, whether it's at work or anything else, like I'm that kind of person. Like it is what it is. It happened. Move on. There's not there. It doesn't help any to dwell on it or even argue about anything at this point. I don't know if it's just me getting older or what it is, but like I don't have the energy to do any of that anymore. Right? Just let it go. If something happens, let it go.
Yeah.
I'm also that karma kind of person. Like if you do good work, if you treat people good, eventually that pays off, and the people that don't, usually it doesn't end well for them. So that's just my
Yeah.
outlook on it. Riding along and learning the plumbing trade, did you ever have any doubt or did you like it right away?
I did have some doubts because, I mean, right out of the bag, men are strong. You guys are built completely. I would always go into the forest over a bear with a man, like that whole saying, because at least a man can hunt the bear. We have something to eat. Um, so I always kind of doubted my strength of like what I can and can't do. But then I've learned to incorporate tools to help
Mhm.
me with certain things, like water heaters. I can lift electricals like nothing but gas. Like I can't do it. And so with the motorcycle lift, I'm able to make the job happen and be safe and not worry about my strength too much. So that was like a downfall for a minute there where I was like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. But then incorporating the tools has definitely encouraged me to keep going. So I was a little doubtful in the beginning just because of the strength, but just learning about the tools and what's available out there definitely let me keep going. I'm still here. So
Yeah, I was gonna say you're still doing it, so you made it through. That's always a hard part of the beginning. I think doubt creeps into a lot of people's or young people's mind when they get into a trade, no matter what trade it is, because they don't know enough. I think that's always the common one is they don't know enough. They never feel like they know enough. In my trade, there's a lot of stuff that you have to learn. I'm sure it's the same with yours, like continuing your education of different things. New tools that come out is one thing too to help you, and not just do it the way you did it 20 years ago, whatever it was. You got to get up and keep up with the times, and stay relevant because you'll get left behind. So that was a major thing. I think I know I've spoken to a few that say it's like a it creeps into your mind the doubt and should I be doing this? Did I make the wrong decision? Things like that. Any trade is a trade that you need to at least give it a shot because it doesn't come overnight. That's the other thing is right. You ride with somebody, they've been doing it 15, 20 years, maybe even more, and you feel so far behind, but you just started. You need to give it some time and learn all those things. And as long as you try hard and look for the answers, you'll do really good.
yeah, if you apply yourself and just allow yourself to take as much knowledge as you can get from these senior technicians, like it's gonna work out. It always does.
Yeah. The other thing was, I don't know if you, so did you have any pushback when you got into the field, like when you started plumbing, whether it was from coworkers or customers or anything like that? Like,
Oh,
anything?
this is a great question. So, because I always hear girls saying like, "Oh, my coworkers are being such butt heads and like giving me such hard times and don't
I've
think I
heard
could do it."
many different ways about it. That's why I'm asking because yeah, it depends on the person.
It does. But I personally have never experienced coworkers being mean or rude or side comments or anything. I mean, I know I've butt heads with certain people because I want to do it my way, but I have to step back and learn their way because they're the senior technician, like those
Oh,
circumstances,
I went through
you
that
know.
so much too.
But I would say the hardest part of my job still till today, I mean, this literally like a phone call just happened on the 17th with a customer. I was literally just calling him like, "Hey, I'm coming out for your garbage disposal. This is Alayna with Parker Sons and Plumber." He's like, "Well, are you even strong enough to lift that?" And I'm like, "I just installed the water heater bed. Like, that's just some forearm work. Like, we're good." So it's the customer's mindset of like a woman should be in the kitchen barefoot, pregnant, raising kids still. So, and it is the older generation, but like once I do the job and they see who I am and what I have to offer, they're usually asking for a business card by the end of the call. So it's the customers that are the hardest to deal with sometimes.
Have they ever like turned you away? Like they don't want you to do the work?
Yes, I've had that happen where they just thought I was gonna drop it and break it, and they didn't trust that I could be strong enough to lift it. So out of kindness, I was like, "Hey, if you want a guy here to do it, like, no hard feelings, but just know that you're gonna have to pay for 2 technicians to be here," you know? So, and making that clear, and they're like, "It's okay, like, I really just want a male here," and that's happened a couple times in my plumbing career where a customer did not want me to do the job because I was
Yeah.
female.
Yeah, I've heard that one too. The cool thing, like you mentioned, they ask you for a card at the end of the call, because I've heard that too. I've heard that quite a bit is, women can do a lot and we have so many in this trade, we obviously need more, but when they do the job and they win over the customer, those are the cool stories, right? Because that customer will hound them or doubt them, and that's why I'm saying you got to stick with it. I mean, it's even worse with when you have to deal with stuff like that. So I get it, but if you can stick with it and prove them wrong, basically, then you turn that person into a loyal customer or somebody that requests you specifically, right? Because they
Yeah,
enjoyed your work and your
yeah.
and probably your customer skills, because I've heard that too. Because I have another, they do an HVAC company. It's a couple, but they always request the girl because she can talk to them, and she's very smart. She explains everything about the call, about the work, everything. But they say that she's nicer. That they always request her, so she's always requested by the customers.
I can believe it. I can believe it. So, I just wish customers would kind of accept, like, be thankful that anybody's showing up to your house to do the trades because we, all of us, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, we are the backbone of America. Like, we're the ones that are keeping everyone intact and healthy and can live in a house and be comfortable. So I always say I wish customers were just more thankful for anybody showing up.
It's like you picked up that phone for a reason, right? You couldn't do it yourself.
Yeah.
So something that I've been doing more now as we expand and hire people is training. Something that I've dealt with in the past is dealing with customers and their weird complaints. Where we can get help on those two fronts is actually the software called LiveSwitch. Now, LiveSwitch actually helped a lot of big sporting events, so they have a very capable system in place to where they handle a lot of things during COVID for your NBA, NFL, WWE. Whenever they had those virtual fans, that was LiveSwitch. They also helped with the 911 call, where they can have these video calls and different ways of phoning in an emergency. And now they are helping out home service businesses, because the guy that actually runs it ran a home service business himself and actually knows the difficulties and tasks as a business owner, employees, and all that comes with it. You need something that does more than just a FaceTime call. With LiveSwitch, you can do these video calls to any device that has a browser built in, and it is just a link that the customer or one of your technicians clicks on. Once you click on that link, you get end-to-end video. So if you're interested and you want to check out LiveSwitch for yourself, make sure to check out the link down below. And I think this is a game changer. And there's so much other things that I just have not even scratched the surface on. It has a lot of AI built into it. It is just meant to make this experience with your employees and technicians or your customers seamless and just a better experience for both sides. Once you get into it and you realize what it is, it's like it's everywhere. I mean, plumbing is one of those too that's just everywhere, and without it, you have these whether it's drain systems or just getting water to your house, like all this other stuff, like you don't think about it growing up, and then you're like, this is everywhere. This is never going away. It's in high demand. A lot of the stuff you can't fix yourself. I mean, a customer can maybe unclog a sink drain, and that's about it. Everything else you got to call a plumber for. Your water heater goes out. There's tons of things that you call a tradesperson for, and it's always in demand. It's everywhere. I learned that a lot when I got into the trade, and it was a weird switch, because before I never saw any of that. And now I go into any building, I'm like, oh, I see, every trade in that building and how important it is. And I'm so glad, or that makes me glad that I got into the trades.
Yeah, same, same. Very blessed and thankful. I love it. And being able to help people too is what helps drive me as well. I can say I did that. I helped that person get hot water.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long do you have to run with the senior tech before you got your own like calls or your own van or anything like that?
So Parker and Sons is a little different because we do apprenticeship programs, and basically you do 1 full year riding with the technician, and then you can test out. So they'll put you through a test, and then if you pass, you can go in your own truck. If you don't pass, they just send you another 6 months. Plumbing today was 3 years, so I was in a truck with a senior tech for 3 years before I even could experience being on my own.
Did he let you do a lot of hands-on yourself? Did you learn a lot as far as like get actually doing the work?
Yes, yes. And he gave me some good tips that I still use today. He's such a smart plumber who really is. I just wrote him the other day asking him about swing checks because like I thought I installed one wrong and sent him a photo. He's like, "Nope, you're good. That will work. It doesn't matter as long as it's going to the flow, because everyone's like, "Oh, you did that wrong." And I'm like, "Let me ask Ryan because he's been doing this a long time." And it was good to like have that clear conscience. So I'm still in contact with him when it comes to like certain plumbing questions that I have.
Well, that's always good to have. Like I said, for a good while, I could still contact, the ones that I grew up or learned from, and it's always good to have that contact. And I've been down that road too. Like I'm like I've been doing this for so long, I should know how to do this, but then you're not super confident. You think you did something wrong, and it happens. That was something on social media then that you posted?
Not really. I didn't post that one on social media because I was kind of nervous on getting the hate, but it was some coworkers that I sent it to that were
Oh.
like, "That's wrong, that's wrong." And then I was like, "You guys are so young bucks like me. Let me ask like someone that's senior."
Well, I was just gonna say because I get that all the time. Like when because I post everything, and I'm like, I already know which ones are gonna get a lot of comments and hate and stuff. And I was like, look, it worked. The way I did it, it might not be the way you do it, but it's still done correctly, or we got the customer going, and that's always my thing too. Is like helping out the customer. So I mean, sometimes you gotta work with what you got, and that's a big learning experience in the field too. Is thinking on your feet. And I love that part of this trade is being creative and like I said, thinking on your feet and thinking outside the box and just helping out a customer. That's always problem solving is what I enjoy the most about this.
Yeah, thinking outside the box and on your feet. It makes us who we are. And like going back on, you could put 5 HVAC technicians in a room, you could put 5 plumbers, 5 electricians, have the same job, and we're all going to do it differently, but we're going to get the job done.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Biggest hate video I've had so far was about plumbers putty and silicone. Like that is the biggest war with plumbers right now. And my comment feed just went crazy. Like I've been doing this 45 years. Plumbers putty's the way to go. And it's no, silicone's the only way to go. So that's like the biggest hate comments that I've had of that war.
I think I've seen some videos of that and I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm not a plumber, but I'm just reading through the comments. Beforehand, you said you were in Florida. That, I don't know if you wanna touch on it, that addiction that you were talking about earlier, was that right after high school, or what period was that? Um, because 'cause I'm trying to figure out when you got into the trade, and you said that happened right before.
Yeah, so I got into the trades in 2016, graduated 2017. I was basically barely 8 months to 9 months, almost a year clean when went with my mom. I was doing drugs in Oregon, so that's where I was at. And then I
Oh,
left
okay.
the state. I left the state completely. It was a really crappy, abusive relationship. We both got into drugs. Cops were called, and then that's how we both kind of had to go to rehab and split up. And after rehab, I was like, I just need to get the heck out of the state. So that's why I moved to Florida. And it worked out because removing myself from the environment definitely did some justice in my life.
Well, that's good. That's good that you turned your life around because that's not easy. I've talked to a lot of, guys in my trade that have gone through it, and obviously it's not easy. You had to remove yourself from the state entirely to get away from it, but that's good. I've known guys that have that problem and they're business owners now or they're just really good technicians and it's just getting out of that environment, getting yourself help and being willing to. I mean, did you realize it and did you just go for it or did you have second thoughts about it? Did you not want to leave?
Uh, that is a good question. So I think I was like so upset and ashamed of where I was at and that I let myself get to where I was at. And then the moment my mom opened up her doors, I was like, this is my chance. Like
Okay.
this is my second chance at life. And I really got to make something of myself because nobody else is gonna pay for my life. No one else is gonna give me the golden spoon and be like, here you go, like everything's paid for. Like I really had to figure it out. I don't come from a family of money at all. My parents never owned credit cards, never owned their own house. Never really went to college. I unfortunately did lose my dad at 17. He had a massive heart attack because of his health. So that's why I'm also very big now that I'm older on what I consume in my body and what I eat. Because diabetes is a real thing. It's all over America because everything that they put in our food is really bad for us.
It's really bad and it's always really easy to get. It's always cheaper to buy fast food and all this other stuff. So that's been on my mind too, because obviously my parents and my dad has his own health things, but he smoker, everything else. So that he finally changed some things in his lifestyle, eating habits. He's making changes, but it's already, later. I don't want to be like that for my kids. So that's been on my mind too, making changes and trying to be around as long as I can and healthy. Yeah, the other guy that I've talked to on here has mentioned his saying is change the condition, and it's like it has a double meaning, like HVAC obviously condition the space, but he said in his life too, because he was an addict too, and now he's a business owner and he's paying it forward. He does all these things for schools around his area, so it's always good to see when someone turns their life around, can make the most out of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with that too because not only like leaving a legacy behind, which is my goal, but showing the next generation coming in that like there are opportunities out there and available. Like build her org with Renee, we did a
I
whole
wanted to
talk
bring
show.
that up so we can kind
Yeah,
of talk about that.
yeah, she's amazing. She's involved with the community. She's, just getting out there to younger generation to let them know like, hey, if, your parents don't have the money to send you to college or like college is just not a good fit, the trades is where it's at. And she had a big trade your stories event and we had a crane operator, which was a female, iron worker, which was male, HVAC, male, welder, female, plumber, me, female, and then an electrician, male. So all of us were on the stage just being able to talk about everything that we do. And the crowd was able to ask questions. So, like, how do you do it with kids? How do you do it being married? How do you do it with this? And all of us had like a really great answer to let people know, like, don't let anything be a blocker because anything is available out there as long as you apply yourself.
That's really cool. So I've been following Build Her Org as well. Fantastic work. I know she's done like you mentioned, that was on a stage, the one you're talking about, right? Like you guys were speakers. And she's done some interviews or some live streams. Like I've seen her pop up plenty of times. Is she in your area or something?
Yeah, she lives
Oh,
in
okay.
Arizona. Yep. We've grown to be good friends too. I had her over for my friend's Thanksgiving, also with Bobby, blue collar Bobby. I had him over. We've all kind of, and Letty, the welder, we've kind of all gained this friendship to where, we hang out outside of work.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what does she do? At some point I need to have her on here too. What does she do specifically? Like that it's awareness. Is it a program? Does she just go around and kind of do trade awareness? I never asked her what it was exactly.
Yeah, it kind of like everything like that you just stated. And also, she was in the trades herself as a construction worker, and now
Oh,
she's
okay.
point in her life where she's giving back and letting the community be aware, like, hey, like college is awesome and all, but this is also an opportunity. And then also sharing her story, because I know she's had some ups and downs in her life too on the construction side. But her book is amazing. I have it. She gave me one, and I recommend anybody to read it. But it goes into a little bit more deeper about her personal life and what she's done and her goals. And she's doing a great job. And I'm super thankful to know a woman like that because she is an inspiration. She's an inspiration to me for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, I've seen her pop up a lot. I started following her. I'll make sure to leave some of her information in the description as well. And I kind of look into. I need to look into it more. It's something that I thought was really interesting. It's cool to see those people that give back and help create these organizations or groups, because that's something I've said too is we don't need to be fighting with each other We should be all collectively, you know, helping the next generation or helping people online that are looking into it. I've gotten messages where kids are like, I didn't know about this. I saw your
Mhm.
videos and now I want to get into trade school or I want to get into it and it seems fun and this and that, which it is. It's a hard, it's a hard start, a hard beginning for
Yes.
anybody. But if you can stick with it, it's like I said, I love what I do for work. And if you love what you do, you don't really, have a hard time at work. It's just you enjoy it all the time. Or I take that back. 90% of the time you enjoy your work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and networking goes a long way too because Renee has introduced me to a bunch of other people, like Moo Over Bob with Kate and Angie. I was in one of their first edition magazines of women in the
Oh,
trades,
that's
and
right.
they're just now coming out with their second magazine of strictly just welders. So more is to come. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have different magazines for different trades. But yeah, this last one, and it's again Moo Over Bob. We're all in high schools. So this magazine is free to anybody that is a high school guidance counselor that wants to order these magazines for their high school. It's completely for free because we want to be able to get into that next generation, because social media is great and it has done a lot of networking for a lot of us tradespeople. But a lot of the next generation is like, oh, TikTok, I'm just going to make like a dance video and become famous. And it's just like, that's not all what it's all about. Like, helping people and keeping America moving is where it's at. Especially with like this AI coming out. I mean, there's so many videos where it's not even the actual person, it's an AI robot that made the video. And yeah, I mean, AI is taking a lot of jobs, and I feel bad for a lot of the people because it's like, what are they supposed to do? I mean, if they're not mechanically inclined like us,
Yeah.
like what's their next step? So I'm thankful I'm a plumber because AI is never gonna be able to do that.
No, and it would be very, very weird, but very expensive to have like this iRobot type of, movement where we have robots and houses doing things, but that won't happen anytime. AI takes a lot and it is scary. I have been seeing way too much of it now to where a lot of it looks realistic. So not enjoying that part of it. But I mean, that's why the trades is so good. That's why I did want to have, not only HVAC, but plumbing. I want to have electricians on here to kind of tell their story and just say what they enjoy about it or how they got into it. Cause the trades is always in demand. Everybody, if you get into it, you always have work. My dad has had guys that he trained that came from like odd end jobs and now they have very lucrative careers because they switched over to the trades, when they were a little bit older. So that was always cool. And I've had that question too. Am I too old to get into whatever trade? I'm like, not really. I've seen 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds getting into it and they end up loving it. So if you're capable, I mean, we need bodies.
We really, really do. Because I think it's Mike Rowe was stating by like 2037, like if we don't have, because it's like every 4 or 5 retiring out of all the trades, only like 1 or 2 are coming in. So it's a high demand for sure. I mean, and we don't want to become like a third world country where we can't flush our poop, or have
Yeah.
heat when it's snowing outside. We are needed and we need more. And I think that's awesome, like what you're doing and having people on your podcast to talk about it, to show the next generation coming in, like, hey, this is available for you. You don't have to go to college, even though this is what high school has been talking about. And I mean, hate to say it, but like shame on our generation and the generation before us that was like college, 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 instead of like, hey, here's trades. Let's talk about trades. Let's bring trades back into high schools like woodworking and plumbing. And I mean, I know there's still like auto mechanic in high school, but we should bring more trades into the high school because once you get a hammer in a kid's hand, like there's no turning back compared to like an iPad. Like I just know that because of the
Yeah.
Boys and Girls Club. I volunteered in Florida for like 3 years teaching. It was like sixth grade through eighth grade, ninth grade out, and they just kept coming back because they enjoyed learning. They enjoyed asking questions. They enjoyed the plumbing aspect of like, oh, I can go home and change my flapper now because my mom's toilet was running and like we didn't have to hire a plumber. So it's just teaching that next generation of what's really important.
It's very powerful to give somebody a skill because I've always said like if you learn a skill you eat for life. You can always get a job, you can always do something, right? It's not hard to go from one job to the next if you are in any trade, right? There's always going to be somebody looking. And because I had a previous guest the other day, and it was funny because there were twins. One started in a really good company, did really great, and the other one decided to go somewhere else and then jumped around because he had like bad companies and bad luck, but he stuck with it, right? So for every, you know, five bad companies, you'll find a good company. That's always a hard part, right? Getting your start into the trade, making sure you find a mentor, making sure you find a good company, all that kind of stuff. But if it doesn't work out, you can always, look elsewhere. Whereas, you're not out of a job for too long or out of a job at all. The skill goes with you your entire life. You don't lose that. It's not something you can lose. So I've always said that, and it's just great with my kids because I have kids too, and I already know my son is a lot like me, which is I feel bad for him. I had like some sort of ADD. I can't sit still. I can't concentrate. He has it, I think, worse than I do. But in my mind, I'm like, hey, when you're old enough, just come try it out with me. Go do some work with me. Maybe you'll like it, and you won't have to deal with college and that kind of stuff. Because for me, and I'm more understanding. Like you said, some of our parents maybe they wanted us to go to college because that was like what everybody said, right? That's what our high school said. That was always ingrained in us. And my parents were pretty cool with me getting into the trade too because my dad started his business, but I'm more welcome to it. Like if you need to get into the trades because you can't do school, like I'm all for it with my kids. And I think they would be better off because I went to college and the whole time I couldn't pay attention. I was just doodling in my notepad, right? I couldn't do it. And some people just can't, do that. That's where the trades comes in. You you still have to be competent and smart and good at your job, but it's a different kind of feeling, and it's like some people learn better that way.
Yeah. And I have a lot of friends with degrees right now that they're not even using their degree. They're doing some odd end job. So they paid for that college for what? Sorry to say, friends, I love you guys. But well, you took the trade. Like I went to trade school completely for free, debt free. A lot of apprenticeship programs are learning the trade while being paid. I mean, there's so many benefits to that.
Oh yeah, we have our apprentices right now. A couple of them don't know anything. One came from nursing, and I'm like, hey, you come help us. We'll teach you, and you're gonna get paid like this whole time. So they've really enjoyed it, and they're actually like some of our best. Well, the one that came from nursing is probably our best technician right now because he just soaked everything up and asked questions, and it's like, can I do this? Can I try that? I didn't think he would last a week, but he's still here a year later, and he's come a long way.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. I know my friend Myrna, she was a teacher. And now she's a plumber because she's just like, I needed a different income source and wanted to learn something else. And she's so good at
Oh,
it.
that's another one, right? Teaching. That's not going too well for people either right now, unfortunately. As far as doing plumbing for 10 years now, basically. Have you had any difficulties? Is there anything that stood out to you that was hard to do, or maybe a hard job of yours that you had to do?
For a minute there, calculating gas and knowing the size of the pipe. That was a hard one that I had to pick up. Christopher Newberry, my coworker, actually here at Parker, best friend, he's the homie, can call him for anything. And he came out to a job to help me because the customer could tell that I was a little hesitant. And he was questioning me, made me feel a little bit uncomfortable because he's trying to show up with confidence because like that will give the customer an ease of, okay, they know what they're doing. But I let my guard down and the customer could sense that and gave a bid. He didn't really trust it. So Newberry came out and kind of like reassured me, like, hey, you did do everything correctly, but you missed this and that. This is what it should have been. And then we recalculated everything and gave the customer a new bid and ended up selling. So learned a little bit about like the gas. And now I'm like, send me to all gas jobs. I know how to bid them and calculate them and win them and everything. So I've done a couple. I think the highest bid gas job I did was like 27,000. So, yeah, that was the one that really stuck with me the most. But thank God for coworkers that have your back because
Yeah.
sometimes all you need is like, because like you could be your own like blinder, like, oh my gosh, I'm in this sense of my mind of I don't know what I'm doing. And then it's like, oh no, that just needs to come off. You do know what you're doing, and it's okay to ask questions, even if it's a million times till you understand it.
And it's like, hey, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, you still make mistakes. I've made them recently too, like where you just miss something and it throws everything off. So that's another part of it. Because I mentioned earlier, like getting into the trades, you might have like some doubt. That kind of comes back every now and then, later in your career in the field, whether it's like mistakes that happen or, some bad job that happens to you or whatever it is. But if you, because I just tell my guys, as long as you don't make the same mistake twice, I am cool with it. Everybody learns from mistakes. That always sticks with you. Like you mentioned, like you had that and it just sticks with you and you learn from it and you never do it again, right? You get better. That's always the important part. And that's a great thing about the trade is like you're learning in the field, you're doing all these things because I'm sure you had the same thing. Like trade school is great, but it's not in field. It's not, that real experience. It can be different. It helps to have that as a base, as your basics of fundamentals and all that kind of stuff. When you get into the field, it's a whole different ball game and you're going to be making mistakes and learning more when you get out there. And that always happens whether you're in your first year, in your 20th year, that's always going to happen, but you learn from it. You don't make the same mistake twice and you just get better. Even if it's 1% per day at the end of the year, that's a big, you know, change, a big improvement. And that's the most important part of this. Some people like it, some people don't. That's personally what I love is always learning and always being better at something.
Yeah, yeah, because the code book does change for plumbing every, I think it's every 4 years it changes. So we're constantly always learning something new. And I always say if your paycheck isn't growing, then you're being complacent and not learning enough to adapt and be able to make more money in your pocket. Because the more tools you know, more hats you wear, the more money you're going to make.
Yeah, I tell that to the guys that come in because we are basically two sides, which is HVAC and the kitchen equipment. I do HVAC. My dad does that side, so we were partners. But I'm telling the guys coming in, hey, pick or ask both of us questions and take from both sides, learn both sides, because you're going to be more valuable that way, which is great for me because then I have these awesome technicians that do everything. But it just helps them in the long run if they want more pay, if they want if they end up moving on, whatever it is, like, they have those skills you can build on. So,
Yeah.
just learn as much as you can and like you said, wear more hats, get more skills, do more things. Because I get asked that question a lot when kids message and they're like, how much would I make if I started now? Or how much would I make this or that? I'm like, you're not
Yes.
really gonna make much until you actually learn some stuff. So, just go into it with an open mind. You're starting over. You're the new guy. You don't know anything. You're gonna learn, and then how many skills can you build in your whatever however many years you want to plan out that you want to learn X, Y, and Z. That's when you get those bigger checks. Like you said, you're gonna get those raises and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, I know I've gotten the same question. They're like, "Well, am I gonna make like six figures like my first year?" I'm like, "No, probably like after your fourth year, but that's pretty good because there's some people with a
It's
degree that
quick.
are not even making that." Yeah, it's very quick. Like I told them I was like, probably by your third year you'll be over 50 grand. Like it's just all about how you can adapt and apply yourself to learn. I would say like this year is the most money I've ever made in my all of my career because I've learned to adapt and gain more knowledge and ask the hard questions and oh, I want to learn something new. I'm getting bored of just this, and going to my manager and asking for more jobs like that.
That's a big one because like everybody wants instant money, right? It's like, and I feel like the fast food, what is it, like McDonald's and them, oh, we're gonna pay you $20 an hour to start out and you can work your way up. But how much fulfillment do you get out of that, right? I would much
Right.
rather start over in a trade, start at the bottom, and then like you have unlimited growth because you could, if you outgrow your company, you can go find another company or you can open a business. You can do so many different things if you get into it, and there is no ceiling. It's just whatever you want out
The
of it.
sky's the
Because yeah,
limit.
because whatever you want out of it. I personally want to stay a small business because I don't want to be anything like a Parker and Sons or anything crazy, right? Like I don't want.
Huge.
Yeah.
152 plumbers alone.
See, I don't want those headaches. And but if you want that, you can have that. I have friends that have like 40 vans out there. I'm like, good for you, man. I just don't want that.
Yeah, yeah. And I've never experienced working at like cuz the wrench group, it's the same company. So I've never like jumped around with the companies or experienced like starting over. I've always told myself, like, when I graduate trade school, whoever I hire with is who I'm going to retire with. And I've stuck with that. But my goal, like, I don't know if you can see, that's my drawing board right there. I'm going to be opening up an RV storage park next year. So I applied for my
Mm,
name and my LLC. That was approved. So the next step is buying the land and opening that up and being part-time at Parker so I can really concentrate on an income that's residual because I love plumbing. I love turning wrenches, but I don't know how long my body will
yeah.
allow me to do it. So I eventually would like to be like a plumbing instructor and do the RV storage park so I can give back the knowledge to the next generation coming in.
That's awesome. That's a good point to kind of bring up before we get off is, I don't know if I want to say don't put your eggs in one basket, but you should be thinking of other avenues because like you said, you can't be doing it, till you're 60, 70. I mean, you still want some income, like you said, coming in a different way. And I think it's good to have because I've known guys that start businesses. I've done a few things on the side as well just to have some other stuff. And you can love what you do for work, but you can also love other things because I have other hobbies that I like to do and that have turned into, the side work or businesses that I want to open up at some point. And I think when you get into the trades and you make your money, you can invest that into other things and do other things. I know people that do real estate and they're in the trades, right? They have it as like their side thing or whatever it is. There's another income. If you can bring another income, and I've heard this quote before somewhere. I can't remember the quote exactly, but if you have other income, that's where it's at because you can't have everything in one basket. And for us in particular, it's more so your body. Like you said, I think I had thought of always doing this for the rest of my life until my body started hurting. And I'm like, you know what? I might actually want to be a trainer at some point, right? So that's kind of my goal right now is like build the business up and then kind of do something else later where I would maybe still do, like you said, maybe part-time, but then I'm training or teaching or have another business out there doing something else.
Yeah, not turning the wrenches as much.
It's hard. I've seen my dad do it and my grandfather too. And I'm like, guys, you don't have to be out there at that age, right? But it's a mindset for some older folks. And sometimes that's all you think about is like your current career path, your job and all that. And it's like and even in the trades, you can do other things. Like you said, you can go teaching, you can go work at a parts house, you can go, do anything and everything inside of the trades, marketing. Like there's so many things that you can do where you're not in the field if you feel like you can't do that physically anymore. So there's also those avenues, but I would highly suggest, because I know another guy too that did a solar business as a side business because he had a really good job and he made so much money. He's like, oh, I want to do something else too. Like think of other avenues too. Have multiple incomes. That's always nice.
Hmm. Yes, it is.
And you can invest that trade money into something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got me a house, got me a car. Now it's going to get me an RV storage park.
Everybody has different dreams, different goals, and it's always good to achieve those and get those, through the trades because that's what kind of helps build it. So do you have any other hobbies or anything that you do outside of work to kind of keep you sane, keep your mind off of work? I feel like I mean, I don't want to get too much into the mental health side, but I do think it's important for you to kind of take care of yourself because if you're all about work 24/7, it can drive you nuts.
Yeah, yeah. And like so I'm not married, I have no kids. And so I can pick up as many calls as I want. I can work as much as I want. And sometimes I find myself doing that and I have to rewind and not put myself on the back burner. So when I do have time off or when I call out of work, I'm usually going to the Salt River. So listening to the water, bird watching, just enjoying nature as itself. It's honestly my grounding point. I absolutely love Call of Duty. I like playing Warzone. I'm really good at it. So that's also like my little getaway hobby. Church, love going to church on Thursdays and Mondays, involving myself in the community and being with my friends, serving God. So that's another benefit that I like doing as a side hobby. And massages, getting my nails done. Not my hands though, because those just fall off. I've learned that the hard way. A waste of money.
Yeah.
Um, but and then family as much as I can. I try to go see my sister up in Washington at least 3 to 4 times a year. So Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you always need that because sometimes you get caught up in work, like you said. Because I know other guys too that maybe don't have kids and stuff like that, and they take all the overtime that they can. Which, of course, if you can take advantage of that, that's very good money, for sure.
Mhm.
The overtime, but you still need time for yourself. So I always like to ask that question. With me or with other guys that have kids and stuff like that, like that takes up a lot of time. But you still need your own thing to do. So picking up or sticking with a hobby, getting out, doing other things, like you like to do outdoor things, so that's always good to do. Take care of yourself as well. So you I've been saying this a lot lately, but you work to live, you don't live to work. It's just, you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
if
Yeah, because
if
you
you
spend 60% of your time at your job is what the statistics show is like 60% of your time spent in your lifetime is at your job and with coworkers.
and if you run a business, it is 24/7. So I go crazy sometimes with it.
I bet.
Yeah. So thanks again for being on the show. I really enjoyed, conversating and getting your story out there. Is there anything that you want to kind of end on for anybody getting into the trade? Maybe specifically to women that are looking into it. I know I need to have more on here. I've heard really good things from the community of women in whether it's HVAC, plumbing. You don't work with any other women in your company?
Nope, I'm the only female plumber.
So, any advice or anything that you would say, maybe to change that or have more women in general that want to get into the trades?
Yeah, just don't be afraid of being around men constantly. Like I always like to say, the Marilyn Monroe quote is, "I don't mind living in a man's world as long as I could be a woman in it." You're gonna have the biggest cheerleader supporting you, like Conrad. He has been following me since day one. He is my biggest cheerleader. You'll get great support, not only by coworkers but social media too. Just like you're offering me and letting me be on your podcast, which is such a compliment. But for the next generation coming in, women or men, just go apply yourself and just know that there are different opportunities out there that doesn't have to be related around going in debt and going to college. And there's something about the trades that feels good of being able to keep America running. And if you don't know where to start, reach out to somebody that's in the trades, the ones that are actually physically doing the job, not talking about these girls on Instagram that are just showing off tools and talking about them, because I bet you they'd never actually put the tool to use. Actually speak to the women that are out in the field doing the job, diagnosing, using the brain, and not just talking about it, actually doing it.
Yeah, I would say there is some misinformation, and that's what I wanted to point out earlier, like of the trades on social media, right? And we talked about the pay, and you're talking about like the women showing tools. Maybe they're not in the field; they just have. And I've seen that with marketing and stuff like that. But even in my space, where it's like salespeople in HVAC or whatever it is, and I'm like, you guys have never turned a wrench. You don't know what you're talking about, and you're giving out advice. So I see that a lot. That's why, yes, it is important to find somebody in the field. Just make sure that they're actually doing this job. And I'm sure most of the time, because even when I started my social media, I asked a lot of, guys that were basically kind of big on social media, and I knew they were really good people. They did great work, and I asked questions and they answered. A lot of them will be willing to help you if you ask questions, even on social media. They'll find it. The genuine ones, the good ones, will find the time to talk to you and help you, if you really want to know what it's like to be out in the field. So I encourage that 100%. Whether you're a woman, a man, reach out to somebody that you see doing the work, and they'll be very blunt with you as to how it is.
Yeah, yeah, they will.
All right. Well, Alayna, thanks again for making the time. I appreciate your insight, your conversation here, and thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate you. And great meeting you in person virtually.
Virtually. Yeah. All right. Everybody watching and listening, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.